Hello, welcome back for another episode of Muse After Hours.
Yes, welcome. Happy Monday to everybody. We are coming off of watching the Grammys, and Cayenne and I were texting the entire time.
Yeah, Vic came over to my house. We had a little watch party because people suspected Taylor was going to drop Reputation, and Lana was also attending. So Vic came over, we hung out, and we were texting Julia the whole time. Surprise, she did not drop Reputation. She dropped a whole new album. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We were not expecting that.
Nobody was expecting that. Everybody was like, because she was like dropping like these Easter eggs that was like black and white, like changing her profile photo. And then like her dress on the red carpet. Everybody was like, it has to be Reputation. And
it had to be.
No.
Surprise.
She flipped a Yui on all of us. But actually, I will say I was blowing up my stories last night because I was so excited about the Grammys. It was so good this year. Like, I feel like, I don't know, last year, Sam Smith made it weird. Like, it got a little weird.
It was a little weird. I didn't really watch it last year. I just watched clips, but
yeah, it just it wasn't for everybody. It wasn't for all of America. And I feel like last night was for everybody, all generations, all music types. It made you feel like warm-hearted. It was so good.
Yeah, it was really good. We enjoyed it. Me and Vic, we will admit we did not know who a lot of the people were when they were showing their faces. We were like, who's that? Who is that?
They didn't know who Tracy Chapman was. They literally thought Luke Combs wrote Fast Car.
Oh my gosh, you're calling us out. Yeah, we did not know that. I have heard of the name Tracy Chapman, but I did not know what Tracy looked like. So...
Oh my gosh. And I am a huge Tracy Chapman fan, and I have been for years. I've always wanted to see her live. I never have. Fast Car is one of my favorites. So when I saw they were performing it together, I was like, okay, this is amazing. Goosebumps everywhere. And then here these two are texting me. They're like, we don't know who she is.
We don't know. We really thought that it was Luke Combs' song. We thought it came out like last year.
No, ma'am.
Oh my gosh. No,
ma'am. It did not.
Well, we were there for Taylor.
I know. And then I was like hating on, so Vic and I have this like massive rivalry because I cannot stand Lana Del Rey, and she thinks I am literally the most evil human alive for not liking her. Yeah. And so we have this friendly, not so friendly banter that goes back and forth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so because to Vic, Lana Del Rey is like her Taylor Swift to me. Like that's how much Vic loves Lana Del Rey. And yeah, Julia was kind of trashing on her last night.
I mean, her bangs, her outfit. She looked like she was going to like an 80s prom. Like what was I'm confused about the length of the dress, the shoes. The bangs that were like to here and kind of curled under. I don't know. I couldn't.
Her bangs were very long. But yeah. I feel like, did you see Miley?
Miley's hair was insane.
It was. Yeah.
I was like,
her hair was like 80s. Like, oh my God. It was like, her hair was crazy.
It was full blown flock of seagulls. Although I am telling you, even though whatever, she's kind of a weird performer. Like she did some weird dancey stuff that I wasn't into, but her body is banging. Gosh.
Yeah, me and Vic were talking about that. We were like, she is so fit.
Yeah. I would love to look like that.
Yeah. I think I was telling Vic, it was like, because I was like in the Hannah Montana era, like growing up. And so I followed her like all throughout growing up too. And I think at one point, like in high school, there was some magazine that came out that was like Miley's fitness routine, because she's always been super fit. And she was talking about how she did like Pilates every day. And that was like my intro to Pilates. I was like, oh my God, I have to do Pilates so that I can look like Miley.
That's funny because last night, Hadley, because we were all watching it. And my girl, like, oh my gosh, until the very bitter end when like Taylor won Album of the Year, you should have heard the scream. Our neighbors probably wanted to call the police because the screams in my living room were insane.
Oh, no.
Insane. But Hadley was like, that girl looks like Hannah Montana.
That's so funny. Well, she's not wrong.
And Harper's like, that is Hannah Montana. She's like, what? Really?
Mind blown.
Mind blown. Oh my gosh. So what was your favorite part of the Grammys?
Well, Taylor's album announcement.
Yeah. That was pretty
Nothing will
good.
top that.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
good. I think, honestly, I loved Joni Mitchell's performance.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just felt like, I don't know, just being like, obviously, like, I'm older than you guys, but like, it would just meant so much to me that they brought somebody in that generation and like honored her and the way that Brandy Carlisle sat by her side. And like, I don't know, to me, it was so moving. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very sweet. I
Yeah.
didn't know who she was, but it was very sweet.
Oh my gosh. Even Hannah, I was like, I was telling Hannah about it because she didn't watch it. And I was like, oh my gosh, you probably have no idea who this is, but Joni Mitchell, she's like, Joni Mitchell. I love Joni Mitchell.
Oh, well,
So
good for Hannah.
Hannah's kind of an old soul. She listens to all sorts of crazy stuff. But anyway, so what we wanted to talk about today is we kind of like brushed over the fact that like my life was in Washington and suddenly I'm in Arizona. We never really like went into the details. So I just kind of wanted to brush over like, yes, I lived in Washington for most of my life since 1991. And Hannah was graduating high school and we were like really contemplating on whether we wanted to continue to raise the other two girls in Washington because our other two girls were going into kindergarten and fourth grade. And we were like, we actually had like property. We had 5 acres in Washington we were going to build. And
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
yeah,
I forgot
I
that was a
know.
part of the story.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like, it was kind of a dream of ours.
Hmm.
And just during COVID, there was a lot of things that shifted in Washington and it was not feeling good to Chris and myself. And so we decided it was like the hardest decision ever. And we kind of went into that a little bit about like this kind of teeter totter and like Cayenne coming in and wanting more and like just us really like listening to our gut, listening to our faith. And so we did. And we picked up everything. We left, we moved to Arizona and I started over. That's like a really quick little skim over, but that's basically what
Yeah.
happened. And I was like ready to hit the ground running for the most part. I moved into a salon suite and I already had like growing Washington, it was organic because I was also learning how to do natural beaded rose and I was learning
Yeah.
how to own a business where we were doing exclusively hair extensions. So the leads were coming in as needed for the rate that I was growing. So when I moved to Arizona, I was like, oh no, I've got systems, processes, skills, like let's
Yeah,
get
like
this going.
you were established with MBR, like you didn't need the slow grow anymore. Like you were like you wanted to get into it like
Yeah,
fast. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And like, not gonna lie, I was like, well, I already know I'm the best. So this is gonna go fast. I know how to
Yeah.
market. I'm a marketer. This is easy. I've got this. Like, whew.
Yeah.
It has been so much harder. It has definitely humbled me to break into a market. This is so densely populated. There's so many hair extension artists. Never have I wavered in my confidence as an extension artist, but getting the leads has been harder than I had anticipated.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about because we have our systems like you're talking about for marketing and like how we know how to get clients and how it works. But what have you felt like you've had to shift and what's working for you better maybe in Arizona than up to in Washington?
Yeah. So in Washington, like I knew literally everybody in my community. It was like small but big. Everybody knows somebody through somebody. And even though Olympia wasn't originally my target market, I was definitely marketing more towards like King County, Seattle, Bellevue. Eventually Olympia caught on and that kind of foundation that I had laid years and years and years really benefited me. So it was just like leads, 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 leads. Also, like after COVID, people were like, they had money to spend because they were getting money subsidized from the government. They weren't going
Yeah.
on vacations. They were just like sitting on money and
Yeah,
they
and they were
could,
just sitting at home looking at all the things that they wanted to get done.
yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like, honestly, it was so easy to get leads. So, but I shouldn't say easy. I did the work.
You did a lot of work.
Yeah, I was doing my daily 4, which is our marketing strategy that we use inside of the education of natural beaded rose.
Yes.
And so that I did consistently every single day of my life. Like consistency is king. I'll talk about it till the cows come home. If you are not
Yeah.
consistent, like you're never going to get where you want to go. So
No.
always very consistent inside of that. So I was doing all of those things in Arizona. I was even like paying for SEO, running ads, all the things. And it was happening. And I will say it was probably happening a little faster than it did in Washington, but I
Yeah.
didn't look at it that way because I was ready to grow really, really fast.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't know anybody. I have to get out and I have to meet people. I have to do some like grassroots, boots on the ground marketing and
Yeah.
not rely on social media. Because I think that in person, like meeting people, it's completely different and incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so I would sign up and I would go like I had lived here for 1 week and I went to a networking event and anything I could go to that fit into my very busy schedule of traveling every other week and being a mom and all the things I would go to. And I have found that to be insanely, insanely valuable. I actually have a little bit of a story to hopefully just inspire people who are trying to grow, whether you're in a new place or not. Don't forget that in-person marketing. So I decided to invest and be in this amazing publication called the Scout Guide. And this is like, it has a ton of high-end businesses. It's all local. It's like Phoenix, Scottsdale. It was a huge investment to go inside of it, except for I knew I would have like this kind of built-in network and they have events. So they were having their launch party and I went to this launch party. I knew hardly anybody, but I was like, Julia, you're getting your social pants on tonight and you are going to pick a couple people to talk to and just be yourself and get out of your comfort zone. So we're there. I got caught talking to a couple people that I'm like, this is a great conversation, but it's definitely not like going to go in the direction of like, hey, you want
Come get
to
your
be
hair
my
done.
client? Yeah. So I kind of ended that conversation. I'm just kind of scouting the room and there's this group of girls and they're sitting together and I can tell that they're wearing hair extensions, which is never a good sign, by the way.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like they are immaculate, like head to toe, beautiful women. And so I just walked up to him. Chris was with me and he was like sitting back. He's like, I'm just going to let her do her thing. And I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, I'm like, what are you guys here for? Blah, 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 blah. Starting conversation. And immediately they're like, your hair. You have to tell us about your hair. And I was like, oh, this
Well,
hair.
actually,
I mean, I guess I'll tell you about it.
yeah.
So I told them, well, I own a hair extension salon. And they're like, where? And I'm like, oh, right over here in Arcadia. And they're like, what? We live in Biltmore. Like, that's crazy. We drive all the way to Gilbert to get our hair done. And they're like, and actually we hate our hairdresser. They all went to the same girl. This girl, they like had all these stories about how mean she was to them, how she bullied them. And then they were like, can you like take these out and put new ones in? Like, can you actually like remove these? And they're like lifting their
Like
hair
showing
up
you their hair.
and I was like, well, yes, like, of course, absolutely. Like, if you're a guest
Yeah.
at Muse, when you come in, it's an entire transformation. We'll remove what you have in, blah, blah, blah. They're like, she told us nobody would ever remove these.
Oh my
I was
gosh. So like manipulating her clients. That's crazy.
I
Oh
was
my gosh.
I was dead,
Yeah.
but they were ready. There was one gal, she was like, how do I book? I was taking her credit card number right there for her deposit because it's always a $500 deposit to get in with us. Taking her credit card. Her friend is texting me the next day. I have a phone consultation with her. And it just created this spiral of this network of amazing women, ideal clients. A couple of them are actually going to be my models in my upcoming photo shoot collab with Ellie White. So there have been several instances like this, you guys. So do not forget the grassroots marketing, getting in the rooms with the right people and putting yourself out there, talking. That is, I would say, out of anything that I've done, that has been the most like quick and powerful.
Yeah, because people want that connection. Because obviously they see the Instagram and it's like beautiful hair, and you can get a sense of like our personalities and our vibes, obviously, but having that in-person connection means so much. So yeah, that's awesome. I know there's been a few events that you've gone to where stuff like that has happened and you've made amazing connections and networking. I've started to do some similar stuff here in Washington, like the event that we just went to this last weekend, the that we talked about in our last episode. Just meeting people and connecting, and because in-person referrals too, like friends, once in a friend group, once they find like an amazing hairdresser or like an amazing esthetician, they're always sharing with their friends like, oh my god, you have to go and see so and so, they're amazing. So it is just like this big snowball into amazing clients that you want in your chair.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
like friends, they love to share. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you kind of get into like with one influential person that has like influence on her circle of people, it can just snowball. There was another event that I went to that was a vision board making event. I can't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but it was incredible. Jennifer Schumacher with Sotheby's here in Phoenix. She hosts this incredible vision board making event, 100 women. 50 of them are from all 50 states and work inside of Sotheby's. And then the other 50 women are people that are in her lives in one way or another in more like in the Phoenix area. And I made a lot of great connections there, but there was this one gal that kind of told her story about her vision board from last year and everything that happened for her and what came true inside of that over the year's course. And I was like, ooh, I like her. Like, I love her vibe. She had this crazy cool hat on. And I just felt like this, I don't know, this magnet where I'm like, okay, Julia, like if there's one person you need to talk to before you leave today, that's who it is in a room of 100 people. And so that's what I did. I walked up to her. It was the thing was almost over. I was like, "Hey, can I get your Instagram handles?" Like she makes these hats, and I love hats. I'm a total hat girl, obviously. In fact, this is her
Mm-hmm.
this is actually her merch. Mill and Halves. You need to follow her.
Yeah, so cute.
So cute. So anyhow, we ended up talking, and like this crazy idea came to me out of nowhere. I was like, I have a branding photo shoot coming up. I don't have a plan for it. How would you like to collaborate? Which is very premature when you just meet somebody. That's wild. But somehow we just like, I don't know, we just were like that kind of like Insta, like fast friends connection. And I mentioned to her who my photographer was, and she knew who she was. And she was like, oh my gosh, I love her. I've always wanted to get photographs done by her. And so it's turned into this, this friendship, this collaboration. We're actually a week from today doing this incredible photo shoot with her hats, my hair. It's going to be amazing with
It's
the
gonna be
golf gloss.
so good. It's gonna be so good. I've seen little sneak peeks of the hat and it's so cute. I'm like, oh, I have to go and get a Muse Washington hat.
You do, because she makes these very curated, like bespoke custom hats. They're made from like, you can either do beaver or rabbit or a blend of both. And she makes them literally from that. And you can customize them however you want. Like mine's going to have a little bit of like Muse green stitching on like just like an inch or so on the top. And then it's going to have Muse burned into it and little letters on the side. And I mean, she can just go crazy when it comes to customization. But anyway, Millen Habs, Ellie White, you got to follow her. And so anyway, just me going with my gut and walking up to her has created this beautiful collaboration. I'm actually doing her hair tomorrow for the photo shoot. She's actually super influential. She's engaged to somebody who was on like Bachelor franchise shows. And so
Yeah,
she's like,
that's so fun.
I know. And she's like, I'll have him share my transformation. I'm like, okay, Bachelor Nation. If you guys don't know, I'm like a total shameless Bachelor Nation watcher.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to have watch parties at Julia's house. It was so fun.
It was so fun. In fact, oh my gosh, I watched the Golden Bachelor wedding last night. It was the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. I didn't actually watch that season, but I've seen clips and it looked really sweet.
Oh my gosh, the wedding was stunning. It was so pretty, and it gave all these like older people hope for love. But oh my gosh. But anyhow, the point of this episode is to give you guys some tips and tricks and to like the social media rabbit hole can be very frustrating. Is it important? 100,000%. Is the consistency important? 100,000%. Because when you meet these people in person, they're going to start following you. And then when they see that you have been showing up and you're consistent and you have this beautiful portfolio on your Instagram, they're going to be like, okay, that this is like validated for me. This person is legitimate and look at her work. It's stunning. But do not forget that in-person grassroots, meet people, join different networking groups, and put yourself out there, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah. Just to close it out, what's some advice you have for someone who maybe isn't as much of a social butterfly and it's a little bit more uncomfortable for them to get out of their comfort zone, aka me? But I know that I'm not the only one that feels that way. So what advice would you give?
This is a great question. I love this question. We talk a lot in our education about your why. And it's so important to know why the heck you are pushing so hard and doing what you're doing inside of your entrepreneurship journey. What is your why? Like my why, my family, my kids. And so if I'm ever feeling uncomfortable, I'm like, is that discomfort going to win over my why? No, it's not, because my why is way more important than my discomfort. And so anytime I'm feeling a little nervous or uncomfortable, I just latch right back in to my why. I lean into my why, and that really helps me overcome those fears.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Say thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week every Monday. And follow us on Instagram at museextensionlounge.com or .com. That's our website.
That's our
Go
website.
to our website at Muse Extension Lounge and at julieward.muse and at
Cayenne.muse. And
yes.
of course, if you would like to be our guest and get some beautiful hair yourself, it definitely gives you the confidence to be able to go into those rooms if you're networking and make those connections. So you can find that form on our website.
Yes.
And
don't forget our Valentine's giveaway. Go and enter the pinned reels on our Instagram. Enter our Valentine's Day giveaway. You have until February 14th.
Yes. All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.